Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are at the Hindu discussing a topic which has been making news since yesterday. It's been over 24 hours since Akshay Shinde, who's accused in the Badlapur rape case, was shot dead in a police encounter. The police have claimed that he was trying to run away and that he snatched the service revolver, and thereafter the police had to shoot him down. This incident has clearly snowballed into a political controversy, not just in Maharashtra but far and wide. The Badlapur case has been in news for quite some time now after reports emerged from Badlapur about few minor girls who were sexually assaulted allegedly by Akshay Shinde. Charge sheet was already filed against him in the Badlapur case. Today, to discuss this case and to discuss this kind of killing that had happened, I have with me renowned lawyer Mihir Desai, who's a senior advocate and national vice president of PUCL. Mihir, welcome on the show and thank you for
Thank
sparing your precious time for this today. The most important question about the incident that has been making news since yesterday is, what does the law say when it comes to the security of the accused?
Well, let me put it this way that first of all, let me thank you for inviting me here. Thanks a lot. Let me put it this way that in terms of a right to life, which is a fundamental right guaranteed under our constitution under Article 21, okay, uh, life can only be taken away by due process of law, and that is a full-fledged trial takes place, etc., etc., and then somebody might be found guilty of a heinous crime, may be sentenced to death. That's one way of taking away life. The other thing is, of course, the whole question of self-defense. Okay, that if somebody is attacking you and in self defense you take away the life of that person, that seems to be what the police are suggesting happened. Okay, though I have my own doubts about it, but that's what they seem to be suggesting, that is what has happened. We of course, while discussing this, we shouldn't forget the heinousness of the crime which had been committed. One doesn't know for sure whether Akshay Shinde was guilty of it or not. That is something which now maybe we will never be able to find out. But even assuming that he was guilty of the crime, I think the his killing, which appears to be cold-blooded killing, should never have happened. That is how I feel, and there should be an investigation, an inquiry into it. That is how I look at it.
Well, a CID investigation has already been put in place. A probe will be conducted, is what the government says. But the question really, Mihir, is it that easy to snatch a service revolver while the police vehicle is moving? So there are a lot of procedural questions that are also being raised about whether it is that easy to snatch a service revolver, and the kind of statements that the police have made in the official statement that they have released. How does, especially when an alleged accused is being taken in the police custody for investigation, is it so easy to snatch a service revolver and to shoot like that?
Well, from whatever I've read and whatever I've been hearing, this revolver not only needs to be snatched, but it has to be unlocked, okay, in order to actually fire. Okay, so you need some kind of an awareness about how these revolvers work, because these are specialized kind of revolvers given to the police. It's not just a question of snatching it. Even snatching is very difficult. There were about 7, 8 policemen in that van. Okay, and how does this man just go around snatching a revolver? After snatching the revolver, how does he unlock it? How does he fire? How does he fire only despite him firing 2, 3 rounds? It seems only one person gets hurt, and that too, one doesn't know whether it's seriously or not. He's in hospital, of course, but one doesn't know seriously or not. So all those questions do arise. It seems very unlikely that one can't rule it out totally, but it seems very unlikely that this kind of a snatching and firing actually took place. It seems unlikely, and therefore an investigation is needed. An independent investigation is needed. Under the law, of course, you are required to do an independent investigation. I can talk about the law if you want to, but yes, there are serious doubts about how it happened. Okay, and no matter how heinous the crime, that's what the Supreme Court has said time and again. No matter how heinous the crime a person may be guilty of, or maybe the allegations are of, okay, that person requires his day in court. That person is to be tried and convicted ultimately. Without that, you can't play the role of an executioner if that is what has happened.
Well, if you could please touch on the law points of this, like you were saying, it will be important for our viewers to know what are the law points in this case.
See, I'll tell you, there was a case filed by the organization to which I belong to, that is PUCL. It was filed quite a few years back in Bombay High Court concerning various encounters which were taking place at that time. The matter was ultimately carried to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has passed a major landmark decision in that as to how do you deal with encounter cases, because the Supreme Court came down heavily on the encounter culture and said that, look, I mean, you can't just these encounters. Many of these encounters seems very dubious. Okay, that's what the Supreme Court said, and therefore we have to have some kind of a guidelines which are mandatory. Okay, and basically what the Supreme Court said, apart from anything else, is that as soon as an encounter takes place, a FIR has to be lodged. Second thing is investigation under section 176 of the then Criminal Procedure Code has to be conducted. Now that investigation, okay, that inquiry, that inquiry had to be conducted under section 176 by a judicial magistrate or a metropolitan magistrate, again, who is a judicial magistrate. Now you are dealing with the situation of the new code, okay, the new Samhita which has come in, and the equivalent to 176 is 196, section 196. Now there is a very very subtle change made, okay, that if a person dies in police custody, earlier it used to be a judicial magistrate or a metropolitan magistrate who would conduct the inquiry. Now they've removed the word judicial or metropolitan and just put it magistrate, okay, which can mean even an executive magistrate. An executive magistrate can also be a superintendent or somebody like that, okay, of police. Okay, executive magistrate post is given to various people. So what the new law does is it dilutes the requirement of a judicial magistrate inquiry in cases of deaths which occur in police custody. And this is clearly a case of death in police custody, irrespective of whether the police were right or wrong. The case is of police custody and would have to be inquired by. In earlier, it would have been had to be inquired by a judicial magistrate. Now there is a doubt about whether it should be by judicial magistrate or ordinary magistrate. That's one thing. But an inquiry has to be conducted. Okay, postmortem obviously will have to be done. And at the end of the day, the Supreme Court also says that do not rush into giving gallantry awards to policemen who are, charged with, who say that they have committed an encounter killing, etc., etc. So do not rush into those kind of gallantry awards and bravery awards and all that. Full inquiry should be over. Everything should be found. A copy should be sent to NHRC every 6 months. The state government should send copies to NHRC as to how many custodial deaths have happened, what is the progress in their investigation, etc., etc. So that is how the law requires that a full-fledged investigation should be done in this case. Okay.
So a postmortem is already being conducted at Sir JJ Hospital.
Yes.
Is there a time frame with respect to all these procedures that need to be legally followed as per the Supreme Court's judgments till now?
Well, in the sense that Supreme Court doesn't say do it in a day or 2 days or something like that, but Supreme Court does say that it should be done expeditiously. Okay, it has to be done expeditiously. The crime scene has to be protected. That's the other thing which is very important, because this happened within a van. Now, I personally feel the time has come, because you have now judgments and which say that there should be CCTV cameras in police lockups and all that. I think a time has come to put police CCTV cameras also in police vans. Because a lot of beating happens in police vans when people are arrested, etc., etc. So apart forget the killings and all that. Even a lot of torture happens in police vans. So I think it's very important that you have CCTV cameras in police vans. But this needs to be, I mean, see, today what happens is that there is a lynch mentality that, oh, this guy was a killer and that's why it's a good thing that he died, kind of thing. But you are then leading to a kind of a jungle Raj, That is what is happening. If you go by this, because we are living in a democracy, we are living by the rule of law. There are certain systems which are set up, and you can't allow the police to be trigger happy. Okay, that is something which we should not allow, no matter how heinous the crime is of the person. That's, I mean, there is a judiciary which would look into whether he's guilty or not guilty, etc., etc., and then whatever punishment is to be given will be given. But this is how I look at it.
But Meet, that's a very interesting point you make. It's very important as well. That is where I want to draw this conversation ahead to. Remember, there has been a lot of public anger about the entire Badlapur case. We have seen how the people from time to time had to hit the streets in order to make sure that the police made the arrest, in order to make sure that the charge sheet was filed in a timely manner. There was agitation, there was a Rasta Roko in Badlapur. We also saw that there was vandalism in school because few days after the incident, the FIR was registered only after the mother went to the Badlapur police. I believe, the FIR was filed only on 16th of August, though it was 12th or 13th of August when it was known that such an incident had happened with the tiny children of that school. So on one hand, you are looking at people who are already extremely frustrated with the system, with the police, who had failed to move on time. And that is why, on one hand, you saw jubilation as well in Badlapur when this happened. On the other hand, while there is a credit battle going on here, where Devatsa Nyaya has been trending on Twitter in favor of Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister and Home Minister Devendra Fadnavis, where we are seeing that even with respect to the Chief Minister, several favorable tweets were being put out saying how he was the protector of these young children. And on the other hand, we are seeing that the opposition is claiming that this is something which has been done to protect the culprits in this case, culprits who are allegedly politically associated, and that is why there is an alleged effort to try and protect them. In the midst of all of this, Mihir, how do you see this whole process? On one hand, people are rightfully agitated that the system failed them, that they had to do a Rasta Roko, that they had to go out, express their anger in a way that the police were forced to act. On the other hand, you have a system which then gets trigger happy and claims credit for it and says that, look, you were agitated, look, the alleged accused has now been eliminated.
Look, I mean, as far as I see, obviously it's a crime which cannot be condoned. The heinousness of the molestation of the girls, etc., etc. That's something which is very heinous, and people are right in getting agitated about it. There is no question about it. People would be agitated, and they're justified in getting agitated, especially when the police machinery was moving so slowly. Okay, but this is the problem that which happens. That the police machinery would move very slowly, would move only against certain people. It seems that two of the persons against whom the FIR has been lodged, FIR was lodged, etc.
The trustee of the
Correct. They
educational
have not been
department.
arrested as yet. They have not been arrested. There's no movement. It appears that they're close to some political party that is also, and that's why they are being protected. That's one of the things which is going around. One doesn't know. Okay, and some people are saying that it's in order to protect them that this particular encounter took place. Okay, that's what some, we, of course, we don't know. The full investigation will, impartial investigation would reveal this. But at the moment, we are not sure what has happened. But the point is that this is the whole problem. You have, even this happens even in rape cases. That as soon as there is a rape, a major rape case, the demand is that to hang the rapist, which is not really going to lead anywhere. because it's the certainty of the punishment and not the severity, okay, which acts as a deterrent. Okay, so saying that now you hang these people, you have public hanging, this, that, and the other. It's, I mean, we are a civilized democracy, we are a civilized nation, we follow the rule of law, and therefore it becomes very important to, while punishing the guilty and punishing them severely, okay, let's not, I mean, every time there is some major this thing, a new law is brought in. You see what is happening now in Calcutta. Okay, a new law is suddenly brought in. Nobody will implement that law. It's brought in so to calm people. Okay, it makes it very severe, etc., etc., etc. And that's the only reaction. You are not actually trying to control the law and order. You are not actually trying to control crime. Okay, you are just putting the burden on the judiciary that, okay, now we have made a law by which you can, punish somebody more severely. But that is not the solution to the problem.
But then, are we really looking at a deeper systemic malady here, where the system itself firstly fails to make sure that the laws are properly implemented, the existing legal framework is properly implemented, that the cases are registered on time, they're investigated on time? What is this framework that is failing us right now, because of which all, the way you put it, it seems like a superficial kind of a solution that is being suggested. What is the deeper systemic malady that we are speaking of here, and how can that be corrected?
See, the how it can be corrected, I'm not very sure. It's because, I mean, there are ideas, but there are like various levels. There are problems. You go to lodge an FIR, police don't lodge an FIR. Somebody puts pressure on the police, they don't lodge an FIR because we don't want the name of the school to be Badnaam and all that kind of thing. So please don't lodge an FIR. Police will listen to them for A or B reason, not do it. Investigation, scientific methods of investigation are not used. Crime scenes are spoiled. Nobody knows what. So, at that level itself, the whole problem begins. And then you have a situation whereby police are under tremendous pressure at times to solve a case, so they will catch somebody and say we have solved the case. Okay, this is the other thing. Ultimately, there will be no evidence, but the man will be in jail for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, after which he will be acquitted. Okay, so these are some of the problems which are, the entire investigation machinery. Okay, there is no we need accountability, we need transparency, we need independence. Okay, all these three things are needed, and without that, you are not going to have any change in the system. That is what I feel.
Mihir, one of the things that we have been hearing since yesterday is anybody who has reservations about the way Akshay Shinde died is possibly, supporting or condoning the kind of acts that were done with young children. And this is the kind of, narrative that is being built. Is there any middle ground where we can say that there are obvious concerns with respect to the kind of the way in which an extrajudicial killing has been carried out? At the same time, we are not condoning the act, which is extremely abhorrent in the first place. But the fact is that every case has to be dealt with in the available legal framework, and that there should be fear of law within the accused as well when a case happens. So the whole point is, the whole narrative seems very twisted. Do you think so?
I completely agree in the sense that you see, if you see the way things are going, of course, nobody can at all doubt the fact that the girls who are molested, it's a heinous crime, and the person who has committed that crime has to be punished, and has to be punished in a severe way, undoubtedly. There is no doubt about it. At the same time, you see, once you allow lynch mobs to take to go completely, allow them to run amok, or you allow the police to run amok. Okay, you are then absolutely in a jungle raj. You are not living in a rule of law society. Yes, people will have high, their emotions will be very, very overwhelming and very, very intense and all that. That I understand that. Okay, but at the same time, okay, this is I personally feel for us as a democracy, for any country as a democracy, as a as a country which believes in rule of law, I think it's important that we, while criticizing, condemning, and while punishing the people who are guilty for all this, at the same time, we also do not get into a lynch mob, a lynch kind of a mentality, which is very dangerous for a country. That's how I look at it.
One last question, and this is, the fact that this is not the first time that we have seen such cases happen in our country. We've seen in 2019 the Hyderabad case where four rape accused, who were accused in a gang rape case, were killed in a police encounter. In this year itself, may it be Assam, may it be Agra, persons who were accused of abduction, of rape, were killed in police encounter. Do you think that there should be some action which should be taken, or that that there should be some deterrent to make sure that the police force doesn't get trigger happy?
See, there was a Andhra Pradesh High Court judgment which said that once there is an encounter death, there is to be an FIR lodged against the police, for the simple reason that self defense is a defense. Okay, there is a killing which has happened. Somebody has died. Okay, somebody has been killed. Yeah. You may have a defense that I killed in self defense, but that's a defense to be proved in law, proved in a court of law. Okay, you can't just so every case of encounter that has to be impartially, independently investigated. And if a person is guilty, and I can tell you one thing, most of the encounters which one has seen, most of them, I won't say all, but most of them are fake encounters. Okay, so and everybody knows that encounter, when you talk about encounter, it's a fake encounter. Okay, police never get killed. It's only these dreaded gangsters who get killed. Okay, yeah, in real encounters, in genuine encounters, at least some police would be getting killed, etc., etc. I mean, not that one wants them to get killed. I'm just saying that an encounter means there is a give and take. There is a fight, there's a battle, which does happen in some parts of India. It's not that it doesn't happen, but these kind of encounters which one is talking about are are many of them are cold-blooded murders, and this is something for which the police have to be held accountable. Yeah, otherwise, you also give power to the lynch mobs. Okay, to say that, okay, if the police is not doing it, let's go and kill. And that has been happening. That has been happening. And I personally feel that it's a very, very sad situation. And but it has to be set right by prosecuting the police if it's a fake encounter.
Well, Mihir, that has been an extremely important discussion where obviously the onus lies on the investigating agency to firstly make sure that the investigation is conducted in a timely manner, that the charge sheet is filed in a proper manner, and that the case itself is legally tied so that it stands in the court of law for the judiciary to make sure that the entire trial happens on a timely basis where people don't get frustrated with the system and with the pace of it. And obviously the kind of narrative that is coming up right now is something that has caused deep concerns. I thank you for your time and
Thanks.
for your expertise, and thank you for watching The Hindu for this special podcast.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.